So I performed my first public concert in Heidelberg, Germany this year, and it was amazing. I started off by saying goodbye to my cute little pup Cooper, who will stay with my friend for 10 days. You gonna be okay, buddy? You gonna miss me? Aww. On an Uber right now, headed to the airport. Super excited. I boarded the flight from Washington to Frankfurt.
How are you, sir? Good?
Good, how are you?
Are you in your vlog yet or not yet?
Yes, you're a part of my vlog. Stopping briefly in Lisbon, Portugal, so that I could enjoy some of their delicious desserts. This hotel, they have two amazing desserts. Something, and this one is called BELGIUM. Alright, here we go. So crispy, warm, and gooey. Once I landed, I rented my car and crashed at my hotel. Finally, I made it to Frankfurt. It's been like at least almost 20 hours, I think, so it's just been really tiring. Then went out with some fans in the evening. Today I feel absolutely great. And now I'm gonna go to rehearsal, okay? Today I have a big day, 2 different cities. The next morning, I went to rehearsal at the piano studio and practiced a bunch of my pieces I had prepared for the concert. Here is my piano place. The most difficult ones were La Campanella and Fight for Freedom, so I spent the most time practicing those. That afternoon, I drove 2.5 hours to Stuttgart. We have made it to Stuttgart, and so right now I'm gonna look for a good place to eat some steak. And after a delicious steak lunch, I take steak very seriously, so it's perfect. Visited a piano professor at the University of Stuttgart. She had in her possession an extremely rare piano, one of the only 6.0-inch octave grand pianos in all of Europe. For those of you who don't know, an octave is the interval between 2 notes on the same pitch, such as C4 and C5. On most grand pianos, the distance between these 2 notes is 6.5 inches, but on this piano, it was 6.0. This means that for pianists with smaller hands like myself, it's much easier to play and makes for a much smoother experience. For the first time in my life, I can reach a 10th. It feels amazing. For the first time in my life, I was able to play the piece Waterfall smoothly, instead of the usual jerkiness. La Campanella, which has a lot of large jumps, feels so much easier to play on the smaller sized keyboard. Even though I only spent a few hours practicing on it, I felt like it was easily worth an entire week of practicing on a regular sized piano due to how natural my hands felt and how easily they were able to reach certain positions that gave me trouble in the past. Later that night, I drove to Heidelberg. I couldn't get into the hotel, so I had to book another one that night. Here, I'm putting the last 4 digits of my reference ID. Doesn't work. So it's day 3 of my Germany trip. I'm in Heidelberg now. I ended up having to drive outside of Heidelberg to like this hotel just to be able to sleep. Things have not been going super smoothly, but hopefully today will be better. The next morning, I drove to the venue, which was the Europaishof Hotel, a legendary 5-star hotel in Heidelberg. I was to perform in their biggest conference space. This is the stage for tomorrow. I always get excited when I see such a beautiful piano. Seeing the Yamaha Grand CFX piano for the first time, I was overjoyed. It's always a treat to play on such a beautiful instrument, and I like Yamaha pianos more than any other brand. Oh my god, it sounds so good! So let me tell you guys why I was performing in Heidelberg, Germany out of all places. Let's briefly time travel back to late 2018 when I was a financial analyst in New York City. I had just been promoted to manager and had just completed the most rigorous certificate of the industry, the CFA. I was ambitiously planning a move into machine learning and algorithmic trading. At the time of quitting my job, I was making this much a year before bonuses and benefits. All of this changed one day when I received an email from someone named Andreas Schneider-Neureuther. Hi Lionel, I'm running a software company which is headquartered in Heidelberg, Germany. We will celebrate our 25th anniversary for about 750 guests, and your unbelievable program would fit perfectly in our program. This was a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity for me. You see, for the 10 years that I had been on YouTube as a pianist, while I had relatively small but loyal following, nobody ever invited me to perform at their event, especially one in front of 750 people and for 45 entire minutes. In fact, my only performance experience over all those years was a time in 2014 when I performed for 8 minutes at this Asian talent show. And the best part is that I could play whatever I wanted, and I would be paid over $10,000 to do so. I had been dreaming about quitting my job for years, and this opportunity made me realize that this was my last chance to go for it all. Commit to my music dream 100% like I had always dreamed of, or live the rest of my life wondering what if. Once the agreement was finalized, things started happening quickly. I performed 3 huge concerts at theaters in New York City and Germany. I quit my job. I went on radio talk shows and interviews telling people about my story.
So you were born in Hangzhou, China, but you were raised in Maryland. What was it that you enjoyed about the piano?
So at the beginning, it was my parents who signed me up for lessons. And of course, I hated it at the time. I moved from New York City to Baltimore, Maryland so that I can live in my parents' basement and focus on becoming a YouTuber full-time. Throughout all of this, Andreas was a constant supportive presence, flying me out to his company events to give me more performance experience, and telling everyone about my music, even people like Barack Obama, and looking around for opportunities for me to perform. But then one day, in the middle of the night in November 2020, he passed away. This was absolutely devastating for me. Even though at this point I had already become more established as a YouTuber and had a sizable income of my own, I felt like my parachute had been destroyed. I was now completely on my own. If I failed, I would end up on the street homeless. So this year, I resolved to host a concert to honor Andreas' name. And the best place to do it would of course be in Heidelberg, so that his wife and kids could attend. It was the only way I knew how to remember his name, by letting my audience know who he was, his life, his love for my music, and why I will tell people about him for the rest of my life. 7 o'clock right now, 30 minutes before I go on stage. I didn't think I was gonna get this nervous, because after all, this isn't my first time doing a show anymore. Oh my god, and I have so many jokes prepared for tonight. Nervous if they're gonna work or not. Wish me the best. Hopefully I don't mess up. Hopefully I don't. Just take it easy, Lionel. Take it easy. Oh my gosh. Okay. First concert in 2 years. So, Guten Deutschland. My favorite one is gluten free.
Gluten free.
That's a joke. Okay. So it really is an honor for me to be performing here today. Thank you guys all so much for coming, okay? Today I'm feeling really relaxed, but then now immediately I'm starting to think about my next one. It's so funny. I have to do another one, and I have to do this next one in Washington, D.C. The next day I spent it hanging out with my fans walking around in Heidelberg. It was so much fun to spend time with them and to get to know their personalities better. I realized that the kind of people who like my music are all very outgoing, very non-judgmental, and most importantly, very kind. That evening, I went to visit Andreas' grave. I promised him that I will continue to honor his name and tell the world about how good of a person he was and how big of a difference he made in my life. It was the least I can do for him. Then we celebrated his birthday at his favorite Italian restaurant in Heidelberg. Look at this, perfect medium rare. The next few days were a blur. I hung out with my fans, especially Zulaski. Very excited to see Zulaski's apartment, I guess, and then also to see Tamara. They have some really good food cooked up for me, so I'm excited to try it. Dude, oh my goodness, it's great to see you. So you cut this magical pork. As he made me his special pork belly and caprese salad dishes. Wow, it's really good. All right, I'm gonna take some of this juicy pork belly. Excellent. You're a master. I just left Zulaski's place. It was so nice to see him. And I don't know, I just wish I could have spent more time with him. I spent time with my relatives in Berlin, visiting different tourist sites and seeing the culture, history, and the nightlife. I spent time with Andreas' family, his wife, and 2 kids, both of whom are the most unspoiled, curious, and genuine kids you will ever meet, with not an ounce of the usual brattiness or arrogance that you find in many kids these days. When I returned to the United States to see my beloved dog Cooper, I felt like I went through an epic journey. I was so happy to be back home. Finally, after 11 days overseas, I'm back home. My place is a complete mess because when I left it, I was just dumping stuff everywhere. I'm gonna take a shower and I'm gonna go find Cooper! Welcome back! Ah! Oh. Oh, no! Oh, my baby!
Thank you so much.
This trip to Germany was absolutely unforgettable. I met so many fans, made so many friends, and of course my family in Germany. Andreas' family, who is now my family, his 2 kids who I will look out for as my own siblings. I had a concert that people were willing to travel 3 to 7 hours to attend, and they all loved it. I traveled around Germany visiting cities I've never been before, and walked the streets feeling like a real German. And of course, I ate really delicious German food and snacks of all kinds, and learned some great German words, like Entschuldigung. What? Entschuldigung. Entschuldigung. Okay.
Are you from the US?
Yeah. And Rindfleisch, which means beef. And Schweiningdon.
Yeah.
Rindfleisch. 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 Rindfleisch.
Rindfleisch.
Rindfleisch. All of these which I will never forget. But most importantly, I was able to visit Andreas' grave and pay homage to him one last time. I don't know the next time I'll be back in Germany, but I do know that it will always hold a special place in my heart, because this is really where everything started.
So many people are vegetarian these days, so I have to do my part in eating the beef. Otherwise, the vegetarians are just going to take over.